Christina Fink. She's in Washington, D.C. and is a professor of international affairs at George Washington University. We really appreciate your time. Now, the military leaders releasing thousands of prisoners. What's the message the junta is trying to send here?
Well, this is something that the government typically does at the Burmese New Year, which is where we are right now. They release prisoners who have almost completed their sentence. And so that's what we're seeing here, although perhaps in larger numbers than normal. What's significant, though, is, as you said, very few of those individuals are actually political prisoners. And even those that are political prisoners are people who were sentenced a few years ago for criticizing the military. So we're not seeing any of the more than 3,000 people who've been arrested over the past 2.5 months being released in the last few days.
Now, Prof, it's also been announced that the head of the junta will attend the ASEAN summit that's taking place next Saturday. And of course, this is a situation that is affecting so many of Myanmar's neighbors and the region. But do you think at this meeting that other leaders will be able to convince the military junta of trying to return to democracy somehow, or to give a little in what's happening in the country at the moment?
Well, I think it's positive that the Commander-in-Chief Min Aung Hlaing agreed to participate in this meeting. And so far, he has been very resistant to international calls to reverse the coup or even engage in any kind of negotiations. But I hope that he will reconsider, with ASEAN countries really coming together and telling the regime that it's time to really step back and that it is possible to reverse this coup. And, ASEAN has the potential to find a face-saving way for the military regime to do this. It may not happen in this summit, but hopefully the groundwork can be laid for some kind of negotiation process to go forward.
So many people are hoping that that will actually be the situation. But at the same time, a national unity government has been formed in Myanmar. They include members of Aung San Suu Kyi's party, as well as leaders of ethnic minorities and anti-coup protests. How significant is that? Is the fact that this coup has actually brought all these people together to fight the military? And what are their chances, this group's chances, of actually returning the country to a democracy and normality in some sense?
Yeah, well, I think it's very important because the regime had assumed that by arresting Aung San Suu Kyi and President Win Myint and many other members of the cabinet and other key elected officials, that they would be able to really destroy the party and the democracy movement. And that has not been the case. We've seen both protests continuing on the streets, civil servants refusing to work for the military regime, and then this interim government being set up by both elected officials who were able to escape arrest and other members of ethnic political parties and representatives of various ethnic groups. And so I think this is really positive because it shows that the movement is determined to continue, regardless of what the military regime would like to do. And they also are saying that what they're calling for is not just a return to the situation before, when the military and the elected government shared power, but actually a fully democratized government in which the military would be under civilian oversight.
Christina Fink, I really appreciate your time and your analysis on that situation in Myanmar. Thank you so much.